Kenya's Gold.
Good evening, viewers. Happy midweek, and thank you so very much for choosing us to keep you company in this hour on this 24th day of July. And allow me to start the show by telling you something absolutely interesting that happened following yesterday's show. Now, yesterday we did talk expansively on the macadamia value chain and all the key players involved. And while at it, we talked about the issue whereby our processors do not have enough raw materials to process, because now as a country we are exporting raw macadamia nuts to other international countries. Now, some of the farmers did call in yesterday and talked about the fact that yes, they do understand that exporting raw macadamia could be crippling the processing industries in Kenya, but as of now they do prefer exporting their raw macadamia to the international market as opposed to selling their raw macadamia to processors in the country. So now the question becomes, why do they prefer exporting their macadamia as opposed to selling it to the processors? Now, in the coming episodes, we'll definitely do have our farmers right here in the studio with other key players in the value chain so that we can streamline the macadamia sector. So in short, all I'm asking you is to make sure that you do book another date with us next week on Tuesday. Very many thanks for joining us today from wherever it is that you are watching us from. We do have an absolutely great show lined up for you today. My name is Violetta Ngina. Now, moving on to the agenda of the day, away from the macadamia. Every single Wednesday for the last couple of weeks, we have been focusing on fish farming in Kenya, and we are not yet done. Far from it, because the blue economy sector is very expansive. Now, last week, we did begin a very interesting but very crucial conversation on the utilization of fish waste through value addition, and also talked about the dangers of having fish waste making their way back to the lakes. Now, right here in studio today, we will be continuing with that conversation of utilization of fish waste. And as we speak, we do have a display of fish waste right here, right now. I tell you, Kenya's Gold, we don't joke. Mambo ya agriculture mutaielewa by fire, by force. Now, what we do have here, first of all, once you go and get your fish, it looks like this. We have well-cooked tilapia. This is in coconut curry, and this is fried fish. Now, fillet processing companies, once they get the fish from the lakes and process the fillet does look like this. But for them to get the fillet, they have to remove the skin. The skin of the fish is what we do have here. While other people could throw it away, this fish skin can be converted into fish leather that can be used to make fish shoes and also outfits made out of fish leather, as we did see in our feature last week. What we do have on my right here, these are fish eyes. All right, and the fish eyes, because of the quality of the fish eyes having a very shiny look and feel, they are used when it comes to making accessories and jewelry. And right here, once you have removed your meat, once you have removed your skin, we do have the skeleton. All right, these are the bones. And once you also eat your fish right here, you have bones that are left. Now, to very many people across the world, this bones are waste. But in the feature that you are about to watch right now, coming all the way from Kenya's second largest county in terms of land size, I'm talking about Turkana County, you are going to have a new look and feel and object and thoughts about fish bones, because you're going to see a different way of using the fish bones. Take a look at what we have for you in our feature. someone tells me that Mombasa is hot, my question to them will be, have you been to Turkana? No, have you? Because right here, right now in Loropio villages, the temperature is at 39 degrees Celsius, absolutely scorching sun. The ground is hot, but at the end of the day, the farmers here are doing everything they can to make sure that we are not missing on any agricultural produce. Now, the main reason as to why we are here is to continue with learning a lot more when it comes to value addition of fish. And you remember, we've talked about how every single part of a fish can be value added into something useful. Now, what I do have with me right now, unakumbuka ule samaki mkubwa nilikuwa nimemshika Homa Bay, that Nile perch. This is a leftover of a Nile perch from Lake Turkana, and this is after meat and the skin has been removed. But just in case you're thinking this is waste, no, think again, because this is going to be processed and converted into chicken feed. And you remember, while we were talking a lot more when it comes to poultry farming, a lot of poultry farmers have been kicked out of business because of how expensive chicken feeds are. So come along with me right here in the beautiful land of Turkana County to learn a lot more about how this leftover becomes the main meal of a chicken. Let's do this. Hi, Brizan.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm very fine. How are you doing?
I'm well, and I'm so happy to be here today.
Thank you and welcome to Loropio.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Ijua, mnasurvive aje?
Hii jua iko sawa. Inatusaidia kwa biashara sana. Bila hii jua hii haiwezi kauka.
All right. Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you so much.
Leo tumekuja kuongea kuhusu value addition ya samaki,
yes,
converting this into animal feed.
Yes.
And before we get there, maybe we can just start with a brief introduction of yourself and what you do right here at Loropio.
Thank you and karibuni sana. My name is Brisan Were. I'm one of the co-founders of Value Villages. Value Villages is an initiative in remote Africa that uses the local communities, local resources and opportunities in marginalized community to develop a roadmap for sustainable development.
Right.
Here at Loropio, we looked at the available opportunities and resources here, and we realized there's a gold mine in this lake, and that fishermen were not fully exploiting the opportunities that are available in this lake. For example, many of the fishermen here, when they are eating fish, all the bones, all the skins, they throw them away. And so the idea of Value Villages is to convert these bones, these skins into money, and let the community know that in a fish it's not just about the flesh. The bones and the skins can also give them an income and a source of income.
So when did you come up with this concept? At what point did this fantastic village stop throwing away bones and now they started converting it into the gold that is money?
All this started in the concept of Value Villages, because when we came here we realized that the only people who are directly benefiting from the lake were the direct fishermen. But the question was, what about thousands of many women, especially women and young girls in this region who had no opportunity to go and fish? How can they benefit from this fish? And so we came up with this concept of starting to produce chicken feeds so that now the women can indirectly benefit from these fishery projects by rearing chickens and being able now to get access to easier feeds, cheaper feeds, and easily available feeds.
Which year was that?
That was in 2016. That's when the idea started, but we did build this facility here around 2020.
Now we want to start the process of turning this into feed. What happens?
There are two processes here. First of all, what happens, there is filleting of fish. Once fish has been filleted, there are a number of things that come out. First of all, we have the filleted fish, which is frozen and exported to Nairobi and other international markets. And then we have the remains, like the bones. So this is the bone of a mature Nile perch fish, and this is just a middle age. A mature Nile perch fish goes at around 110 kgs, 120 kgs. So what we do with this one, we dry it, really dry it very well. And in the process of drying, when you can see here, what happens is, when maggots grow, we also harvest maggots here that are fed to the fish. to the chickens out there. So once this one has dried properly, we have to steam it to make sure that it's free from bacteria.
Right.
So that when we are making chicken feeds, we make chicken feeds that are safe even for the chickens.
Right.
Yeah.
Even before we get into the process of steaming it, how do I now confirm that my bones are well dried?
If you come from a fish eating community, you will smell the smell of a fish that is dry. Different from the smell, if you can smell this one, you see this one is still very fresh.
This is fresh.
This is very fresh. And so you see this one.
See blood.
Yes. So the smell of this one is not good. But this one is much better.
Yeah. This one in Anuka.
Exactly.
This one is not bad. You can actually smell it some more.
Exactly.
All right.
One of the conditions for us to know that it's ready is when the smell is good, and when the smell is good and it's very light, that tells you it has very little moisture. And when you hold it, it's sticky. You can hold it.
Yeah, you can feel the stickiness.
Yes.
Let me try hold one that is quite.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, still very slippery.
Very slippery, yes.
Right.
So this one that's a bit sticky now, this is ready for steaming. We isolate them. You see on this side, there are those that are now getting really ready. And we keep moving them to the end. So that when we are now taking them to steaming, we start from that end. So when you see this side, you'll see most of them are still very fresh. They're still coming into the process.
Does it also come with a challenge of inzi, kuifuata, or just various insects?
We like those insects. We especially inzi. They really make it rot very fast, and when it rots, the maggots grow very fast, and we harvest those ones to feed on the chickens.
And how many days does it take to fully dry completely?
With this sun, in a week, it is ready and good for steaming.
And now when we go to the steaming, please talk to us about why it's very important to have the mesh as opposed to just throwing it directly to the water.
So throwing it directly to the water, it will boil, and it will make it wet. So the idea why we steam them and we raise them high, we want it to dry and to be steamed. So it is the heat from the steam that burns all the bacteria. Yeah.
And so can I also mix Nile perch and tilapia, ama lazima ikuwe one specific kind of fish, a step at a time?
A number of things are always considered. You ask yourself, what kind of feed do you want to make? And what quality of fish do you want to make? Study has shown, and this we also prove the Kenya Bureau of Standards, that protein from the Nile perch fish has very quick growing rate in chickens. They have high protein content as compared to proteins from the tilapia and other types of fish.
The feeds that you're making here is entirely from the Nile perch?
Yes, entirely from the Nile perch.
Great.
And also another advantage is the bulkiness of the Nile perch.
Right.
Yeah.
So once you have put it into your steaming space, how long do you leave it there for until now it's ready for the next process?
It's always between 15 to 45 minutes. 15 to 45 minutes, also depending on how the fish is dry. If we are taking really dry fish from the end, we take very short time to steam. Because what you only need is to reach a particular temperature of around 46, all the bacteria will have been removed from the fish. Yeah.
And you come and measure it so that you can ascertain we have that temperature that we are looking for. Ama say malimefika, you're able to tell us.
The young men doing this, they are good experts in that.
Right.
How they do that, they test the boiling pot. When you hold it, it tells you these temperatures are to that level. And we also look at the steam coming out. When you start seeing too much steam coming out, it's ready.
Right. Please take us through the next step after that.
So once we have already steamed the fish and it's ready, then the fish is taken to the processing plant, where the first process is always sorting out. Even after steaming this fish, we still realize that there are fish. For example, if I can show you, when you look at this fish and you compare, when you look at these two heads, this head is very clean and it has a lot of damages as you compare to this one. So when this one goes to the person who is doing the final crushing, because he's the one who decides which head is to be crushed, he may decide and say that this one is not clean, it's not good, so this one is thrown away. There's also a process of selection once we start the crushing.
Right.
It's not that all of them just goes to be crushed. But
So
the question is, what happens to this one?
Hii itaanguka mtiani kwa sababu ya nini?
Haitaanguka mtiani, itawekwa kando. Ikishawekwa kando, what that means is the level, we will have to add more proteins to this chicken feed, because by this destruction, you see animals have already taken most of the proteins in it. And so the protein content will be a bit low. So we need to add in more or crush more of this one to balance with this one.
What happened to this one, tunapata hii damage?
So what happened to this one is that because it's big, it took longer to dry. And as it takes long to dry, it also has other inhibitors who also come in to eat it.
Right.
And sometimes they're also affected by birds who also come to feed from them.
All right. It's very nice to hear you say that, because that clearly shows you're not just in the business of making any feeds. You want to make sure that what you're doing is quality feeds.
Exactly. And that is why all our customers have always come back for more feed.
So now, once we have selected the ones that are going to be crushed,
we crush them according to the quantity. And so another thing that we always do is all our production are market driven. We collect the orders. For example, now we have like 6 tons order. We produce to 6 tons. Then we take them to market. The idea is we don't want to keep chicken feeds too long in our stores, and when they get to the market, the customers have complaints. So we only produce to the level that the customers need. Then we give them, and we have a calendar for each of our customers that shows that I have 100 chicken, and in 2 months my feed will be finished, so my reorder level will be on the date 26, and then we start producing for this customer. So that before even his feeds or her feeds are completed, the customer is already receiving more supply.
Talk to us about the machinery involved when it comes to the crushing and the processing of now the steamed fish into chicken feed.
So in the machinery involved in the crushing, we have the bigger machine, the crusher, that crushes all these bones into flour, into a a bit rough flour. It's a bit rough flour, and then after it has produced the rough flour, then that is the level where we mix all the ingredients there. We mix all the, for example, if you want to make a layer smash, there are all the ingredients that are required for layer smash. And there's quantity of how much each one should be put there to meet the standards. And so that is where now we mix all of them. After we have done that, then now we take them to a bigger machine we are calling a mixer. So in the mixer, we are now mixing all the content that we have had, and then after that they are taken into another machine where now we mix the flour from the fish, the ingredients plus the maize corn, so that now we are able now to produce the final product.
What have been some of the major challenges that you have faced in this business of making chicken feeds from fish?
One of the biggest challenges you experience here is the steady supply of fish. Lake Turkana has the greatest potential to unlock the economic potential of this region. But unfortunately, this lake has not been sustainably exploited. The fishermen in this lake have very little modern fishing gears. We are still fishing in the 1920s, where majority of fishermen are still using rafters. It's not their wish. It's only that most of the fishermen along the lake, they are subsistence fishermen. They just want to fish to get something to put in the stomach. We need to really get the mindset, and the second thing is the mindset of the fishermen, whereby we really need to get the mindset that this can be an economic hub for them to improve their other livelihoods. That yes, you can depend on the lake and also educate your children, and also start a business, and also start other extended businesses from the revenues you get from the lake.
Right.
We need to move away from the mindset whereby the lake is a place for me to go fish, get 10 fish, eat 5, sell 5, buy unga, buy milk. No.
Right.
So that is one of the biggest challenges, the steady supply of fish. And the second challenge we are experiencing here is, I will say, the culture. Turkana community is not a fish-eating culture. Turkana community is not a chicken-eating culture. That even if we start producing more of chicken feeds, it's a bit getting difficult to start encouraging the rural communities to start rearing chicken. And that also translates into the demand and supply mathematics, because for us to produce more, we need many farmers demand.
So where are your buyers mostly, given that the area around here, they are not, a chicken rearing community?
3 of our buyers. One of our buyers is our broader project, the Valley Villages, that buys the chicken feeds and supplies them to rural women, especially in areas where we have our nutrition centers. That is one. And the idea is they have a steady market where they're able to supply eggs to our nutrition centers.
Right.
Number two major customer is the Kakuma refugee camp and the Kakuma region. The refugees are very good chicken rearing communities because chicken can do well in refugee camps, and they have become one of our biggest, I would say, number one clients in this project. And then we have individual customers in Lodwar town, Kalokol town. We have NGOs that are supporting chicken rearing programs, and so what we do is supply feeds and they get feeds from us.
Right. Now, have you started having conversations on how the locals in this area can take advantage of the great resource that is Lake Turkana and make sure that they're using it for their economic value and also sustainably, as opposed to just using it for subsistence farming?
We have a number of initiatives that we have started with the local communities. And one of the initiatives that we have started is a program with our sister organization, Learning Lion, where we are producing a Lake Turkana Connect app. Lake Turkana Connect app is going to be a resource center for the local communities, where the local communities are able to see opportunities, are able to interact with the bigger, wider community of fish buyers outside there, so that people are able to see practically that, oh yes, my tilapia, I don't just need to sell it in Loropio, but there's somebody who can buy a similar tilapia at threefold price in Nairobi. So once we start exposing them to practical realities of fishing, then they'll be able to see, oh, so this is not just a subsistent thing, it's something that can earn us a great income.
Now, also talk to us about the employment opportunities that projects such as this have been able to create for the young people right here at Loropio villages.
Loropio, you realize, is a very rural, marginalized community. And many young people here did not have an opportunity to go to school. But this has really created a great opportunity for them, because you don't need a university degree to fillet fish. You don't need a diploma to crush these bones. You only need to press a button. And so we have been able to train 37 young people from this village who are involved in our value chain directly. That is just those directly involved. But we have many young people who are now working and rearing chickens. For example, the ICT campus here, the secondary school here, all the eggs, that we eat are all bought and supplied by young people from different locations along the lake.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so very much for speaking to us.
Thank you so much, and feel welcome again.
I will definitely come back as you progress in making sure that the lake is being used now for economic value to change the lives of the people right here in Turkana.
Thank you so much.
So much. Na hiyo jina yako wewe imenikumbusha kitu, acha njaribu. I could be right, I could be wrong.
Yes.
Mrembe.
Mono.
Mrembe kandi. An absolutely great feature all the way from Turkana County, and one thing that is for certain from such a feature is the fact that fish waste is golden. And like I showed you at the beginning, we do have fish waste with us right here in studio. We do have, once you get your fish fillet, for the fish fillet producing companies, they remove the skin, and this skin can be used to make fish leather, to make shoes and jackets and various other outfits as well. We do also have fish eyes, and because of the fact that they do have a shiny look and feel, these eyes are very important when it comes to making jewelry and accessories for ladies as well. And once you eat your fish, as you can see, we have cooked fish right here. This is fish in coconut curry. This is fried fish. The bones, like you have seen in our feature, are very vital when it comes to making chicken feeds. Now, from the very many farmers in poultry business that we have visited in different parts of the country, one thing that they have repeated over and over again is the fact that about 70% of the returns they make go into buying chicken feeds. That's how expensive chicken feed is. Yet, day in, day out, there are fish bones that are being disposed all over the place, and if these these fish bones are well utilized, they are a very important raw materials when it comes to making chicken feed, and this can reduce the cost of chicken feeds for our farmers. Therefore, it's about time that we started using the circular economy when it comes to agriculture, and we will be breaking that down for you very shortly. Right now, it's time for us to take a fast short commercial break, but please do not go anywhere because we still do have a lot more, including Farm Joke of the Day. See you shortly.